Do you still have any question about our
Yeah, I think I finish it.
Sa new member, baka meron kayo tanong about sa salary
the
ngayon.
newcomers? Do you have question about our salary increase?
Yeah, because many of our members are asking why their salary is not increased.
Not included in this new policy.
Yes.
Since they are ongoing with their contract.
Yeah, because there's no law. Your salary is not about law. Your salary is only about your contract. So, if you as you remember that when you rehire or when you transfer, you sign a contract, right? And this contract already indicates how much your salary is. So even when you rehire, so every of your contract basically is 3 years. So during the 3 years, if you don't sign a new contract, so your original contract remains. So that's why your salary remains, right? That is why not everyone's salary is increased. It's different from the factory worker. Once the government announced that basic salary this year become how much, then their basic salary become how much, because there's a law. So you know the difference?
Yes.
With and without the law. What we have? Contract only. Yes. So how the government raise your salary by defining your contract? Because the Indonesian government, your Filipino government, Vietnamese government, when you discuss with the Taiwan government about the contract, they have a contract. That is, everyone needs to sign the same contract. They have a discussion. And then, all the foreign governments, they insist that they want the contract, the salary number, the figure of the salary on this contract to be higher than what? Then that is the time how they negotiate. You understand what I'm talking about? So there's no law, and then the contract, where the contract to be negotiated, it happens between country and country. So, and because there are over 200,000 domestic caretaker here in Taiwan, including over 100,000 Indonesian and maybe 20,000 Filipino, another 20,000 Vietnamese. So you can see the Indonesian, they have the biggest market share, right? So the Indonesian government can speak the loudest to the Taiwan government to increase the salary. But also, as I can see, Mexico also insists that your salary needs to be increased. But so I need to say, this is not totally from the workers' power, because it comes from that Taiwan really badly need domestic caretakers, want to keep the domestic caretakers. So that is how the government can speak to Taiwan government to increase the salary on your contracts. But still, it means that if unfortunately your new contract starts this July, for example, some people the new contract start July and still 17, and your employee is not willing to increase right now, then what does that mean? Then this worker need to wait for another three years, so her contract will be renewed. By the time her salary becomes 20. So this is not this is not fair for all the workers, right? It's really not fair. Yeah, because during the time your salary is not increased, your work is still the same. And also, you don't have freedom to find other works. Because you know when you transfer, you're going to sign another contract, right? So when you transfer, definitely it means your salary become higher, right? So it's really unfair, because I can hear many of our direct hire members, they tell their employer to contact me. And some of the employer, they just say, oh, if this increase is not mandatory, then the salary remains. Many of the employer insist. Even I say, hey, but it's not really, the worker will feel very sad because other worker increased already, and then it's not fair because for example, she's rehired to work for you 4 or 5 years already. Why not? But those employers, they're very stubborn. They say, oh, unless the government say the increase is mandatory, or I don't care. This is a part called the conflict. The conflict between workers and the employers. Then I think we need to suggest that firstly we continually complain to the government that we need a law. We need a law to protect the workers' right, not using the contract as the way, because the contract means if I don't want to, there's no basic right of the worker. Still, there's a contract, but there's no basic right from the government to protect the worker. So that's what happens now, right? So what happens now? That if your employer not agree to increase the salary, you have no way.
You still have to follow the contract.
Yeah.
It's written in our contract is that amount only.
Yeah, and then whoever, but okay, here comes the part. The Taiwan government say, as long as the employer, no matter mandatory or not mandatory, as long as you employer already increase the worker salary over 20,000, then the employer can apply for subsidy from the Taiwan government, 1,500 and times 4 months.
4 months.
So totally is 6,000. Yes. So this policy is not only for the newly increased. As long as your employer increased already, or increased even 2 years ago, 1 year ago, increased already, as long as your present salary is over 20,000, then your employer can apply for 6,000 subsidy. Yeah. And the Taiwan government say that this subsidy also so busy now. So busy. It's okay. So can I continue?
Can you please close it?
It's okay.
This green only. Okay.
Can I
So
continue?
any more question or?
May I continue?
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, I just want to finish that. So that is why it's my obligation for me to tell all the employer on the direct hire that they have the right to apply for the subsidy. And if I know that your salary is already over 20, then I will remind your employer, hey, you can apply for that, right? And if not yet increased, then I would say, hey, the government encourage you to increase the salary. So if you are willing to increase, then I will help you to apply for the subsidy. For example, your employer, your salary increase, right? Your employer agree. Then my part will be I will make the new contract. I will make a new contract, make a new pay slip, and also make the application form for your employer to apply for the subsidy. This is time. This is the two weeks what I'm busy for.
But my boss says he doesn't need the subsidy.
It's up to him. It's up to him. I offer to him if he doesn't want to apply. It's up to him. But I still need to tell them.
Actually, I mentioned to him, if your family is a poor family, you can apply. But he said he just
No. It's not about for poor family or not. Okay.
Because I read from the poor family.
No. If this is additional information. 1,500 times 4 months is for all the employer, no matter rich or poor. All the employer can apply for that, as long as only condition is your caretaker salary is over 20,000. That's the only condition, no matter your employer poor or not. But if your employer is handicapped and poor, handicapped employer, I'm not saying the word, the employer himself or herself is handicapped or poor family. In Taiwan, there's a low income family. Then you can have those employer can have 3,000 subsidy every month.
Oh, yeah, there's a
And
two
then
types.
for 36 for totally 3 year, you can get a subsidy.
You mean 3,000 times 36?
Yes.
Oh.
But not in once. It's a monthly they can get the subsidy because because some of the family, I think most of your family, your employer family are not the disabled or poor family, right? But some, huh? Yeah, most are middle or over middle, right?
Yes.
Some of your employer have very big house. But anyway, I want to say, but some of our member, as I met before, their employer are really poor. Their employer are like very old, maybe 80 years old women taking care of disabled son like that. For example, very poor family, for them to increase this 3,000 for you is very heavy. So that is why the government say, okay, then the 3,000 will be shouldered by the government for the first 3 years. But after 3 years, what will happen? We don't know. But anyway, because this is very important thing. You know, when the domestic caretaker, when you say that, when we promote or we advocate that domestic caretaker's right need to be improved, right? That's our campaign, right? And that's why our demand to the government, right? But all the local family, they will say, oh, if we improve your working condition, then who will protect our rights? Our employer, we cannot afford anymore. But actually, they will example the poorest family, the handicapped family. They will say, if you increase, then this family they cannot hire. Are these people just deserve to die? They would just say like that. So to stop the government to improve your rights. So I think now the government, they try to make difference. They say, okay, we need to improve the workers' right. And on the other hand, we protect the poorest people's rights by subsidize them, right? So I think this is a very good direction we can observe. But I think to comfort every employer, like give 6,000. You can see compare with the 3,000 times 3 years.
Yeah.
1,500 times 4 months. It's not big. It's really not big, right? So the government just want to comfort every employer, because some employers they will still complain why they have, why I don't have. So this government gives some comfort to them.
The subsidy.
Yeah. So I have to say, I feel really no dignity for the government because they want to increase, they want to protect your right, but they don't dare to.
Just being fair with both sides.
They don't, because they are afraid to lose their vote from those voters. Because you migrant workers don't have right to vote, right?
Yeah.
So when the government want to improve your right, they need to use the money to comfort the voters. That's what happens now. So but we need to learn from this, because we need to know that the government is now, they are trying to distinguish the difference. They don't want the rich people to make the poorest people as excuse to stop you from increasing your rights,
Yes.
right? So that's what we need to learn from this kind of policy transform. Okay. I finished my part.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Still something in your mind about our increased salary, if you are qualified or not? Do you still have that question?
Oh, okay. There's a government suggestion. There's the one. There are many QAs in Chinese, and one of the QA is, if the worker is not satisfied with the employer that they doesn't want to increase the salary, okay, your employer want to remain 17 and you are not satisfied, what can the worker do?
Yeah.
The government say, you call 1955 to apply for a mediation meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. If they want to change also the employer,
Yeah, you can also
because they were not allowed to increase.
Yeah, but as what we know,
Even the increase.
yes, you can say, okay, my demand is that I want to discuss in the labor what the mediation meeting will not be in your broker or not in the individual house. The mediation meeting will be addressed on the local labor, inside local labor, right? Okay, so inside local labor, it means that local labor will be the one to host the meeting with you and the employer, and then you discuss. But it's not a promising that your employer will agree. Maybe even in the meeting, still not agree. But then you should learn from this, because at least you can mention there and then make her feel that, oh, this you are not just following.
So what if, still like that? If the employer will not still agree,
Nothing to do.
still legal.
Still legal. But it's just like, oh,
No,
but
that's like if you are planning to change employer, so
Continue.
you have to call 1955 for mediation, and still the employer will not agree. Still your contract is your
still
salary is still legal.
Yeah.
You cannot force your boss.
To transfer?
Yes.
You can transfer.
It's like what
You can
Grace
talk.
said. Yeah, you can have the
agreement
mediation,
between you and
but the boss will still not agree.
We
Wala
must still
magagawa.
stay there until to finish the contract.
Yeah, wait to finish your contract.
there is a way to show you are offensive. Yes, your employer's decision is offensive, right? So you have the right to tell them it's offensive in the meeting. But okay, back home you still follow. So.
Make a problem. Yeah,
How about if have a lot of illegal works?
illegal work. Yeah, you can still.
If there's
complain.
illegal work, leaders what to do? This is related to the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. Illegal work is different from this kind of increasing salary. Increasing salary is nothing about the law, as what I mentioned, right? It's only about your contract. But illegal work, illegal means illegal, right? Means the work out of your contract. So what we do, we collect evidence.
Yes.
And then we call 1955. We file a case, and then the government will the local labor staff will go investigate, and then if they confirm that, they will rescue you, right? Right? So this different issue from what I'm talking about. I'm talking about is that, for example, you don't have freedom to increase your salary just on your own will. It should be two-party, right? Employer and worker. And you don't have the right to break a contract if there's nothing illegal, right? Every breaking contract needs to be agreed by two parties, employer and the worker. I'm saying something that when you don't have a freedom to do, you need agreement. Even your employer is not agree, you still have the right to apply for mediation meeting. But even you apply for the mediation meeting, the employer maybe still doesn't agree, and you still need to stay.
and wait for your contract to finish. Then.
Yeah, but I want to say, but it's very, I want to say, still we can try is because all the local labor, if you don't apply for mediation meeting, they don't feel you.
They don't
You
have the
understand?
problem.
The Taiwan government doesn't feel you if you don't try to do anything. So it's also a way to fight. Even okay, my fight get nothing, may have a chance to get nothing. Still, you have the right to do it, to negotiate with the labor company with you, not your broker or not only you face to face to your employer, but they will be a local labor. But maybe some of our members, you also experience that your local labor is not friendly. When you go to your local labor, it's another humiliate experience, right? But if the local labor dare to give you humiliate experience, we can also record it and complain to the government. Yeah, complain to the mall, complain to 1955. No one to say that all workers that we cannot just waiting for the good luck falling from the heaven, right? We need to also try to fight for ourselves.
And use our voice to hear by these officials.
Yeah, at least you can have a chance to let your employer feel ashamed. I mean, when you complain only face to face inside the house, she doesn't feel ashamed. But if you complain in front of the labor, local labor, the other Taiwanese, you will make your employer ashamed, right?
Yeah.
So the mediation meeting also works.
So better call 1955.
Yeah, if our member just complain to you, oh, my employee is not willing to increase, then encourage them to call 1955 to have a mediation meeting. Also, about the day off, some of the employer, they don't follow your agreement to give you a day off, right? Yeah, that's also the time you tell them that if you cannot follow the agreement, then I have the right to call the 1955 to have a mediation meeting. Then by the time it's your employer feel ashamed, not you, right?
Even you have extra work like cooking with other families and demand for a bigger salary
Additional.
because your food is included on the
Yeah, because cooking with other member of the family, especially if your ward has a big numbers of family members, just like me before.
Like extinction.
Yeah, extension. How about the grandchildren,
Their
But my
family.
suggestions are really
in-laws?
big, but I think the most important thing is please refuse those work first. Refuse.
it's illegal.
Once you agree once, once you agree once, they will request you second time and more. Yeah.
You must learn how to
You
refuse.
need to voice out your opinion with your employer.
It's not a part of the contract.
Yeah.
You need to confront your employer first. No, it's not my work. It's not my
Yeah.
obligation.
Because your obedience will make your employer feel everything for granted.
If you will not complain, the boss will say, "Oh, it's okay with her, so let's give her more work."